Now, good morning, Uganda, and welcome to the Coffee Break Conversation. My name is Rita Nandira, and thank you for being part of this beautiful conversation. Now, today's matter, we're looking at the fact that social media is one of the most trending, I think, we have in our country, Uganda. And among the students in Uganda is prevalent with up to 97.8% of the university students actively using platforms like the WhatsApp, TikTok, and the Facebook, among others. So studies indicate that 85.1% of the students do not use this platform for academic work, leading to a strong negative. Okay, and welcome once again. Sorry for that a little bit of inconveniences, but to give you more of the information, talking about the social media, which is one of the most training digital factor we have in our country, Uganda, and the students in our country, most especially those who are in the university, I'd say that up to 97.8% of the university students actively use these platforms like the WhatsApp, TikTok, Facebook, and often for non-academic purposes. Now, students indicate that 85.1% of the students do not use these platforms, but of course, leading to a strong negative correlations between their high user time and academic performance. And to give us more of this information addressing the social media misuse among the students, we are joined by the principal of UMCAT, School of Journalism and Mass Communication, that is Mr. Mukulu Levi, who is going to take us into this conversation to let us know what are they doing as an institution, what is the way forward to all this, to ensure that the social media, which is one of the best tools we have in our country and of course in the continent, is used for impactively. Good to see you, and thank you for joining us. Good morning.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Rita. My name is Mukulu Levi, the principal of UMCAT School of Journalism and Mass Communication. Okay. I am glad that Family TV is recognizing technology. Yeah. And we must appreciate that where the world has shifted, we cannot do away with some of the things that have come up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, maybe to kick off with our conversation, how would you describe the current state of social media misuse among the students?
I think before we really get into what misuse is, then we needed to understand what is social media.
Sure.
Yeah, of course, to a person outside there who is watching us, social media, these are simply web-based tools or applications that are created for creating content and sharing information amongst people. So in a real sense, social media has been created for a good purpose. But because simply in Africa and in Uganda particularly, there is a lot that is lacking in terms of training, to ensure for people to understand the purpose as to why this was created. So we realize that not only at schools but also at home, you realize that social media is being abused. The country has done quite a few things to ensure that these social media platforms are used, but they are forgetting the main important thing. Of course, there are laws, but these Ugandans and students at large have not been sensitized to understand how these platforms are supposed to be used fruitfully. Yes. And therefore, you realize that people fall victims of abusing social media platforms. Yet, they are of good importance to both students and any other person who is outside there who wants to use these platforms. Yes.
So the current state we have, most especially in our country, again, among the universities, the schools, now looking at the part of you being a principal for an institution which deals more with mass communication and journalism. Tell us, what is the current state? How is it like?
I think the state of social media misuse, if you would rate it in terms of percentage, it is at 90-something%. Why? Because in most cases, these young people, right now, they are not creative. What they do is that all the time, even when you're in class, if you are not a serious instructor, if you are in a place where numbers are too much, the people will not learn. Because now people depend, all the time you're teaching, somebody is scrolling. Because they keep seeing notifications, somebody is scrolling. And therefore that distracts their attention towards what somebody is delivering. And so therefore that affects academic progress. And as a result, of course, of recent, if you have been informed, there was research done indicating that the generation of Gen Zs is less wise than the previous generation.
Sure.
And yet, when you look at a matter of things, generations that usually come after are usually wiser than the previous generation. What does this tell us? It means that our students and our children are spending more time on doing things that are not developmental, and the things that are easier, because these tools make their life easier.
Oh, yes.
Yes, of course, all the time is entertainment, all the time is leisure, and therefore somebody forgets productive work. Yeah, so that's the state, and it's really, if government and institutions do not take this as serious, where we are going, we're heading for disaster.
The thinking capacity now, how is it standing?
I think the best thing we can do, of course, recently National Council is also revising its curriculum.
Yes.
And the curriculum is going to be competence-based education. And we are thinking, because we have all been asked to develop new curriculums. And one of the things recently, our directors and governing council of the school said, we must take care of AI to be incorporated as one of the tools or curriculum areas that we should teach. Right now, people need to be trained on how social media is supposed to be used. Because in most cases, we learn on job. It is try and error. You just go to villages and see. And when if you want to know this, if you keep scrolling, a first timer on social media platform, you really just see because of what they do. Somebody will just pick a phone and record something. Sometimes some of these people even share content unknowingly, because they keep tapping on features that they even don't know what they do. And eventually somebody will realize has automized what we say sharing pictures without previously, confirming that, oh, I am sharing here. But you just they do the settings because the person does not have the skills, the person does not have knowledge, the person doesn't know how this is actually used. And so people just learn from there. So that is why, one, there must be some kind of guidance that everybody should be trained. We should not assume that people know. Switching on, scrolling this phone does not mean you know how to use a smartphone.
That's right.
Yes. So that is where we must go, that people must be trained. Because it does not just distract the education, the academic progress of a learner, but also causes some health risks. Because we all know, for people who have been familiar to ICT, for us in ICT, because I am an IT person, we believe that the longer prolonged use and improper use of technology has a health risk.
That's right.
For example, if you looked at a screen for a long time, it will cause eye risk problem.
Sure.
Yes, because of the light rays that are within these technologies. So that's why we say people must be trained, that after every 30 minutes, take a break.
That's right.
People who develop these apps actually have put patterns and have put algorithms that even ask you that, for example, TikTok, it has time out. It asks you to to set screen time. You can define your time and say, after 30 minutes, I'll take a rest. And so this app will even always remind you. But how many of us respect that? And if people are not trained to know that, please take rest. And after maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, do that. That will help you of two things: avoid the health risk, but also help you to be more productive in other things.
Right.
Yeah.
Looking at the part of the AI are one of the most trending tools we have now. I think since it was introduced, and now the Ministry of Education wants to embrace this also in schools.
Yeah.
We have seen that this has become also another challenging bit of the fact that most of us, even not only schools, but even the general public now, no longer wants to make research, are thinking of creating something. You just type in something and it all works out for you. It isn't work for all of us. But where is this leading us, especially to the learners who are still in the institutions, schools, and other places?
I think there is nothing that comes that is really bad, but of course nothing comes that has no disadvantage.
Okay.
AI is taking shape, but AI is important. And nobody should lie to you that people are going to be unemployed. We shall still need people. The only challenge is people need to be trained on how to use AI. Because the majority, I have been in academia, but from the time AI came, a majority of people do not know the commands to use for AI to give you humanized content. Yes, because most people just tap their questions. AI is meant to ease your work, but first learn. Yes. For example, if you're searching what you understand, it is even easier because AI can easily give you a wrong solution to a problem. Because if you ask the AI, for example, and say, I have a problem with my wife, what should I do? AI will give you solutions that you will go and beat someone. So basically, like where we started from, training. We need to train people on how to use these tools because these tools have come to help people to ease. Because, for example, you would take 30 minutes to 1 hour writing a letter of an invitation, thinking of the right content and right joining words to use. But with AI, if you really know how to use it, it will take you less than 5 minutes.
Yes.
So who else? And then instead of spending 30 minutes, you'll have some more time to go and do other businesses, which is important.
Oh, yeah.
So why would we say AI is bad? The problem is we have not trained the people. That is why the government is saying, and through the Ministry of Education and National Council, some of these tools should be incorporated in our curriculum, such that learners are trained on how to use these tools professionally. Yeah.
Now, the part of the forms, maybe you can give us what are the most common forms of social media misuse have you observed among the students at Umukat?
Oh, should I be specific at Umukat? Of course.
You can specify for your area, then you can
of course,
like you said.
Like I said, the most worst thing is time wastage. People don't manage time because they want to attend to notifications more than anything else. Ideally, you will see too, people are living a life, a faking life. Why? Because they want to catch up with life, with how other people are living.
Yeah.
You see, when you are on TikTok and scroll and you hear Rita has iPhone 16, then you also work hard.
Yes.
You even end up doing wrong things. Because we even see our students sometimes misusing school fees. A parent gives you tuition to go and pay, you divert it, and because you want to acquire an iPhone. Because you want to catch up with what others are doing. So that is the problem. That is the biggest thing I have seen. And then of course too, people do not want to think. You be in class and you ask a question, for us our times, they would come to class and ask you a question and then you scratch your head and they ask one by one. These days, if you are not a serious teacher, you ask a question, somebody puts stamps in the phone and wants to give you AI-generated answer. They don't want to think because they want to take things serious. And then when it comes to exams, you really find AI answers. That's the problem we are saying. And that's why we are saying we are going to incorporate in literacy for how to use some of these tools because that is becoming so common. Yes.
You mentioned the part which is kind of interesting for someone who wants to hear about your academic performance, especially because we know these institutions, even the universities, they allow students to go with phones in the examination papers. So how have you dealt with it? supervising, because you can't limit, but that cheating, whereby you're the ones who mark this paper, still you're able to identify these answers from the AI, and how have you dealt with this thing?
I think because we are aware, one of the things we do, UMCAT does 2 exams. One is internally done by us, and then the other is a national exam under UVTAB, that is Uganda Vocational Assessment Board. So when it comes to UVTAB exams, of course, being a national examination board there, it has all the processes and procedures of how to ensure that exams are not cheated. And so we are not worried there, because they send us the rightful people to supervise. Even us internally, the first thing, of course, you cannot rule out, but we are always very vigilant. We have to increase the number of people to just invigilate or supervise a small number of people, because students, a person who has not worked hard is very brilliant in creating ways of cheating. But because, of course, some of these gadgets, we have metal detectors at the gate. During exams, usually we don't want people to come with phones at school. We actually say, please don't come with the phone. But if you have come with it, it stays at the gate during examination period, to ensure that people are exposed to some of these things. But also, of course, practical, we are so practical that when it comes to practical exams, if you don't know, you don't know. Because even if you have been using AI to find out how to edit a picture, when it comes to editing a picture on a laptop or on a desktop, you will have to do it. So basically, that is helping us ideally. But of course, the other challenge is where students have lost the art of discussion, the social connection, physical connection, because people want to now work independently, because they find ease consulting Google, consulting AI, instead of consulting from a friend. Yes, and now for us to curb that problem, what we usually do as at our institution as UMCAT is to ensure that we have given training to our instructors that give assignments. And when you give an assignment, yes, let the person go and do the research using AI. But when it comes to marking, it is a presentation. And it's the one, even if they give a group presentation, every member in the group must come in front to present at least a point. And therefore, if a person did not contribute, if a person did not take time to read, of course we will not manage to do that. And also our curriculum these days, which has real life incorporated in it, allows people to be more practical and engaged.
Now, looking at the part of the indiscipline and reputation, as a principal from maybe UMCAT, or maybe you have observed in other places, there are some cases you have encountered which has affected the students' maybe discipline and reputation, and which are those, and how have you helped these students to align them?
In terms of discipline, of course, there are people, I want to start with this particular one I encountered. There are people who value their phones most. And you can go to class and say, in my class, no receiving calls. And somebody will insist and come with the phone. So a phone rings and then you say, you're not picking this. And the person will leave school.
Because of that?
Yes. Wow. So I cannot do away with my phone. Yes, there's a particular student we lost last semester who we confiscated the phone and left school and has not come back.
Until now?
Yes, because he had carried the phone in the examination room up to now. And ideally, he was even in his last semester. He was supposed to graduate on 27th next week. Now he missed the last set of exams. He's nowhere to be seen just because of a phone. He refused to hand over the phone, and of course we said, for the credibility and the name protection of the brand, we cannot allow people. And also for purposes of sending quality people on the market. We cannot allow. We rather lose this particular one, but the rest learn that we cannot have that kind of laissez-faire, where people do not work hard, but are just ready to use tools that are available to ease their work. Of course, they will not be productive if they go to the field in that case.
Now, looking at the part of now, the government also being part of this game to sell the social media handles, of course, all over the country. Maybe you can tell us, are the policies really favorable enough? Has the government really done enough to capture this kind of imbalances, the negative and the positive part? Then also you can also align with OMCAT. Do you have principles, policies as an
when it comes to technology, you can have policy, but you also need infrastructure.
Yes. Okay.
Now, the government has enough laws, has enough rules, has enough regulations in terms of curbing all the crime.
Oh, yes.
But the challenge is infrastructure.
Okay.
Yeah, at some point, we do not have enough systems to filter content that is supposed to be for specific people. And also the biggest challenge with our government is implementation is in isolation.
Oh, yes.
Of interest, more especially on political interest. You see so many young people are doing wrong things, but only those who are doing wrong things in the name of attacking government are picked out. Of course, we are happy that these ones are picked out. But also these ones. Because if you go on social media, you will find somebody doing pornographic content.
Gotcha.
People are and they are within the state. And the country is not doing anything. We only see cases of a person, if you have abused the head of state, you have abused a prominent person, you have abused the cultural leader, that is when the government will pick you. Of course, at some point, we also find people are becoming so inhuman. You find someone beating a child, torturing a child, and then instead of first helping, you are able to just record and share. And if people don't make announcements, tag up Uganda police, of course, it's until people tag, say Uganda police, where that's when you see Uganda police coming up. That means our infrastructure is not good enough for us to monitor what has been shared within our country, such that we look out for those people. So that means my recommendation to government is to increase a little bit of the budget, because when you look at the budget percentage allocation to the Ministry of ICT and of course and other institutions that are relevant for this is really low, and ICT infrastructure is expensive. That is why you see that in the country, even smartphones that have become a necessity for even a senior one student is still expensive. As of now, even internet access is very expensive. So this alone tells you that there is little funding, or else government, I don't want to say, but the government could have paid the deaf ear. Maybe they do not know the intensity or the disadvantage that brings to the country of having a less productive population. And these are young people, and yet remember, they are the biggest percentage. And yet too, the curriculum for O level currently is competence-based. We're encouraging learners to do their own research. So that means we must do a lot. One, procure infrastructure that filters content for these young people. That when you are within a school setting, the school is able to acquire infrastructure to filter content that can be accessed and shared within that proximity. That is possible. Yeah, that once you have come, for example, in this studio, what you share while in this studio is limited to a set particular content. So that is what I am talking about. So such systems require a lot of resources to be developed, and they should be either affordable or cheaper, slightly cheaper. To every organization, to every family, such that, because even at home, this starts at home. The responsibility is not only at school, because if home is not doing their part, then school will fail. Trust me, today, if you picked a phone from a child who was using it wrongly within school premises, a parent will even bring police for you. There is a student who just lost his phone while we had gone for a co-curricular in Gulu. And the parent wanted to arrest the principal. Then you say, how responsible was the principal for the loss of his phone of a student? Really, it's very difficult. So that's where we are. That's why we are saying the responsibility is for both school, government, and parents. Before we even look at students and children themselves, we should have done our part. Yeah.
Now, the coffee break gets into a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with Mr. Levi Mukulu, principal of OMCAT, and we'll be discussing more of this conversation. Just stay tuned. Welcome back from that quick commercial break, and thank you for being part of this coffee break conversation. We are looking into addressing social media misuse among the students, and still with us is Mr. Mukulu Levi, principal of Umukate School of Journalism and Mass Communication. Now, we want to look at, as an institution, do you have policies in place that can be able to regulate or maybe the students when it comes to the misuse of the social media?
Yeah, I think the first important thing is we follow the national guidelines. Yeah, of course, and then too, we also have school rules and regulations that govern usage of some of those tools. Yes, even when we are encouraging them to use them, but we have guidance. One, the first thing we begin with our instructors and trainers, that we guide them. Let learners, while in classrooms, avoid using what? Their smartphones. Unless if it is very necessary for them to have access. For example, me particularly, when I am going to class, all phones go in front. People put their phones on the table in front, or else you will not teach. You will teach one or two students. Yeah. And then, of course, our school rules, we also had our IT personality who was putting the restrictions. You simply block some applications, some web-based applications from being accessed during school certain hours. For example, of course, it is being done with two reasons. One, of course, to limit, to ensure that the broadband that we have for internet is used for the good purpose, or else you will have people streaming all through. If you don't restrict access to YouTube, if you don't restrict access to TikTok for some time, and then the bandwidth is being used will be high, and people who are doing research and reading will be limited. So sometimes we block access to some of those sites, and then you'll see them coming, oh, internet is not working, but what you're doing is simply to ensure that between this time and this time, there is restricted access to some of those sites, such that you can have productive people. But the most important part that we are doing is to train these people on how to use these platforms productively. Because even when you restrict, you cannot restrict beyond school.
Yes.
And yet the purpose is to have these tools being used well and productively, even outside school. So the best and the most important thing is usually we have what we call a bridge semester. We have core courses that we teach. One of those courses that we teach is social media use, and then website development. We teach the leaders education, and then we teach writing and study skills or English to ensure, because sometimes these days English is a problem. Yeah, people can speak, but people don't know how to write. You find the person is a finalist, finishing his diploma, but tell that person to write a letter. If a person comes with a complaint office and say, please go back and put this complaint in writing, the person will run away completely. So that is why the best and the most important thing we are doing at Umukat is to train digital and social media use, which is, I think, everybody should copy, because that's the most important solution. Yes, you can restrict, but it won't be it won't give you the best results. Yes.
Now, looking at balancing, how can schools or institutions, universities balance this freedom, digital freedom, and with discipline at all at once?
When it comes to balancing, it is really very difficult and challenging. But it requires collective effort. Like I said, parenting. That's what comes with what we call positive usage. If we promote positive usage, you see, you imagine if you are on social media. I hope you are. And your father-in-law is on on the same platform. You will be mindful that my father will be seeing this. That is, if your father does not encourage such content. But you imagine some parents And also some instructors in some institutions are doing the same. So how do you expect a student to do different if for you a parent and a teacher are promoting the same negative usage of social media?
Yes.
So that's why I said we start with our instructor, and then we also train the learners. So it's a collective effort, and it's not something that we must start and keep doing until, because remember, technology advancement comes after every 2 years. And when you look at phones or the smartphones, it is within 6 months. In 2 years, you will see iPhone releases 2 phones every year. In a year, they release 2 phones. That means after every 6 months, there is a new phone that comes with a new future. And trust me, after 5 years, for us, I don't know when you were at school, but for us, we used to use Facebook when it came. And people who did not know how to write, it was difficult for them to use Facebook. Twitter is difficult because it is for writing. Yeah. Now, TikTok is easier because it is for both literate and literate. Because it's simple to just put a camera before you, and because of excitement, some of these people, they can record anything. Yes. So basically, we need to do a lot of training and then to ensure that we have balance. Okay. Yes, we promote positive usage for people to have balance. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now, looking at the part of the learners, to what extent should these institutions, universities, and schools monitor these learners online? To what extent? Because we believe also we have the privacy of these learners. Won't this monitoring violate their privacy?
No, in IT, when you are doing monitoring, sometimes you even don't have access to this content. There's what we call encryption. Okay. This information is encrypted unless if you have particular interests and you must obtain ideally more tools that are more expensive for you to have access. That is basically for security agencies, and they will only get into that if they are suspecting something. But when you are doing monitoring, you can simply filter. You can actually put their keywords in monitoring. That content that has this word should not be seen. Content that has this should not be seen. You actually literally don't have access to people's accounts. Yes. You literally don't have access to people's login details. You simply use keywords and use softwares to restrict some content. You literally don't have access to that. So people should not be worried that privacy will be violated. Because for a person who has been trained, there is ethics in every discipline. You are not supposed to have access to those. Even when you host my website, you're not supposed to have access to my password. Yes. So and because that's why there is a tool for encrypting some of that information.
But I think we have seen some cases where some information is linked. How does that come into?
Of course, that comes with an professionalism of some individuals, and those are isolated cases for specific individuals. Just like you're a journalist. Do you think every journalist is fair in doing their work? Should we punish every journalist because one person has done a mistake? No. Like I said, people must go through formal training on how to use these things. And when people are educated and they know the ethics that govern that discipline, they will not make mistakes. But of course, we can't rule out 1 or 2 will do mistakes. That is why the law is there. Yeah. Once you violate somebody's privacy, the law will deal with you. We have Computer Misuse Act. It caters for all that. Yes.
Now, the part of empowering the students or the learners when it comes to whether the use of the social media, how are you able to help them maybe when it comes to branding and also career growth, maybe also adding something on themselves, learning every day? What guidance can you be able to give them out right now?
One, we have encouraged parents to ensure that all learners have these gadgets. Of course, we know, for example, a student is supposed to have a camera. But these gadgets are still expensive for every student to acquire. But smartphones have easy work. That if you have a smartphone, it serve a purpose of audio recording. If you have a smartphone, it can have a notebook. If you have a smartphone, it has a camera.
Okay.
And we are promoting what we call content creation using phones. Even when it has its own challenges and we're encouraging, we are promoting this. And we always encourage our learners that it's not about the most expensive gadget that produces the work that is of standard. Yes, of course, quality is key. But taking a wide shot, a close-up, does not require an expensive camera.
Sure.
Even if it is cheap, even if you're using a cheap phone, you will take those shots because those are basics that we need. So simply, we're encouraging people, our learners and parents, to acquire what they can afford, and we are training them using available resources. Yes, we have our studios, we have professional cameras, but before somebody gets into a studio, before somebody gets into a professional camera, to handle it alone, must has also learned. Because there are also media houses these days that only use smartphones, and you only find cameras in the studios. But when they are going in the field for correspondences, they are using smartphones for content creation. Yes.
Now, the part of students after learning in the institution, being equipped with the knowledge, skills, whatever it could be, and they go out to the world, which is full of competitions. We've seen most of the students are youths, and they really want to access places which are already filled with maybe the required jobs, white-collar jobs, and they cannot attain to doing something by their own. So what would you really guide them when it comes to the use of the social media handles after they're learning in school or in the institutions, to be able to develop themselves and know that it's not about going into an office and to get a job, but of course you can also use the social media handle to create up something for yourself.
That takes us back to benefits of social media. Of course, one of them is the global connectivity. Yes, we encourage our learners. Actually, in my first classes, like yesterday, everybody must share the details about their social media handles.
Okay.
One of the things is to help them, and we ask them follow each other, because we want to help them to learn how to do connectivity, connect to the world. So we teach them that social media is not just for entertainment and social connecting, but also for marketing. Yeah, and so we encourage them to start creating beneficial content, educative content, and also know that tomorrow when you have products, you can sell them online using the social media platforms. Not necessarily building a customized platform for selling, but you can use social media. So that's what we are doing, but also we are telling them that today, actually in this era, you cannot go to a media house and ask for a job if you do not have an audience online. So that's what we are doing, and that's most of them have those projects. And we are guiding them, please reduce on much of dancing and do more of content creation that is educative and informing. Because remember, journalism has three core things.
Sure.
That is educating, informing, and entertaining. So yes, reduce on entertainment, do more of informing and educating, and fuse in a little bit of entertainment, such that tomorrow the social media handle can bring you a job. It will either act as a platform or a marketplace to sell your products, or it will help you get connected to some of the people. Yeah, I have been in Kampala for a short period, but I am able to reach out to some of the celebrities. And why? Because I go through social media. When you follow someone, you comment on someone who's posts, the time you inbox that, this person will have noted and will actually eventually contact you. And of course, that becomes easier to describe yourself. Somebody will have followed you, would have seen what you do, and the description will take a little shorter time than when you are not known. So social media is important, and that's what we are telling our people, that they should be connected, they should make it a marketplace, and they should inform people and educate them.
The part of sensitizing this youth or these learners, to what extent has this institution enabled them, besides you maybe informing them in class, that maybe putting the phones outside, to what percentage have you sensitized and spread this gospel?
Yeah, usually, one, we have public debates.
Okay.
And we invite either guest lecturers and keynote speakers to speak to them, more especially those who are experts in communication. Of course, we also do, instructors do it in every class they go.
Okay.
And given the fact that we have every learner is supposed to do what we call real life projects, and most of these journalists, students who are doing journalism and mass communication, most projects they take are in relation to content creation, because if they opt for other projects, it's the most affordable and cheaper project that they can start up, though it is more straining because it requires more time and consistency. So public lectures, we invite guest lecturers and keynote speakers to speak to them. Like recently, we had a public debate that was moderated by Eunice, the president of women journalists, I think, around the world. And then she's our own in Uganda here from Busoga. And then, of course, one of the panelists is the most controversial Ugandan, who is the presidential advisor, commonly known as Full Figure. She was one of the panelists, because she's our student and she's doing a short course, a skill-based course, because she stopped in P7 and she could not enroll for formal education. But we said, since you are into social media and you're making a lot of mistakes, come and we retool you. So we are retooling her, and she's supposed to graduate for level 1 next week on 27th. So we want also to urge everybody who is outside there and does not have the basic skills. You're making mistakes, because we have seen so many TikTokers being arrested for making mistakes. Probably because they don't know the law, they don't know the ethics, they don't know how to use this sort of platform. Sometimes they think they are talking to themselves, yet they are talking to the world. Yes.
Amazing. That was such a kind of interesting information to be had. Lastly, and how can the government, schools, and media houses collaborate to promote responsible digital citizenship as we are closing?
All of us have a role to play. One of the things you have done is what media houses should do. We pray that every media house should adopt, and if such a program should be there every week, for us to keep sensitizing people. Today we have talked about, of course, social media issues around students and in schools. But we could have more of these topics, such that people, because there's somebody who could have not watched today, but next week somebody else will have time to watch. Because of time, we could have missed out something, but next time we will mention it, such that this information goes and sinks into the minds of the people. Government, of course, like I said, this should increase the funding to ensure that there's infrastructure to help people filter and manage these social media platforms. For schools, we are going to stay on course, train people to know how to do these things. It is something that has come new, but we are incorporating it in our curriculums to see that people, learners, have the basic skills on how to use these platforms. Yes, that is basically we are supposed to do. Yes.
Thank you so much. That has been Mr. Mukulu Levi, principal of Umukat School of Journalism and Mass Communication, and we were discussing about addressing social media misuse among the students. Of course, he has given us more elaboration beyond the students. Also, the public also has taken an advantage or a disadvantage of this social media misuse, the WhatsApp, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and so many other digital platforms. And of course, the government of Uganda, including the parents, lecturers, and all people we're supposed to take part to be responsible to ensure that we make the best use of these tools in our country, Uganda, for development, not only to make a negative part of it, but to see that we change and impact the lives of people through it. And a lot can be done beyond the making of the laws, policies, and regulations. Well, of course, ensuring that the implementation of this, whatever government puts into place, comes into a manifestation for the betterment of this country. My name is Rita, and allow me to wish you a blessed weekend. Let us meet the coming week, the same time, the same day, only on Church of Uganda Family TV. and I wish you a blessed day. Shalom. Bye-bye.
This is Church of Uganda Family TV. Enriching lives. Regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
This week on Church of Uganda Family TV.